Hi, my name is Bill Nelson. I'm the Grand Canyon Council Advancement Chair, and this will be a short 30-minute presentation on the Eagle Scout Service project and what that entails. This presentation is going to address the process and requirements for conducting a Eagle Scout Service project. The audience for this is unit leaders, advancement administrators, scouts, parents, anyone interested in how is an Eagle Scout Service project put together and documented. To understand the value of the Eagle Scout Service project, we're going to be going through a number of slides. And we're going to talk about the procedures for scouts and leaders to follow in completing a successful project. You know, scouts render a tremendous service to the community through the Eagle Scout Service Project program. And at the same time, they're learning to plan and manage project efforts that they will most likely find themselves involved in later in life. During this presentation, we will cover the nature of the project, the requirements, the administrative procedures, and an overview of the Eagle Scout Service Project Workbook. Before we go to the next slide, I'd like to point out the Guide to Advancement, which is shown on the right side of the first slide here. We're going to talk more about the Guide to Advancement on the next slide. The Eagle Scout Service Project is meant to be a positive experience for the Scout. The Scout's focus and energy for the project is in meaningful service to others while practicing leadership skills. We don't want Scouts spending large amounts of time on the administrative parts of the process. While the development of the proposal, plan, and report are important parts of the process, we want a Scout's focus and energy on the completion of the project itself and their demonstration of leadership and service to the community. We must always keep these aims of the project in perspective. It is important to remember that only one Eagle Scout candidate can receive credit for working on the same Eagle Scout service project. If the project is large, you may be able to divide it into two parts and each Scout take one of the parts as a separate project. Okay, so what should the Scout expect? While working towards completion of the project, this is what the Scout should expect at the first stage, which is called the proposal and approval stage. During the proposal approval stage of the project, questioning will cover the project concept, the proposal, and what must be done for the project to be successful. Questioning shall be conducted in a helpful, friendly, courteous, and kind-hearted manner. Project expectations are stated in the Eagle Scout Requirement 5, which is in the handbook and also reprinted in the Eagle Scout Service Project Workbook. We do not require any more than what is stated in the Eagle Scout Service Project Workbook in the proposal section. If it is requested by the Scout or their parents, a written explanation must be given for any proposal rejection. A copy is sent to the Council Advancement Chair and the Staff Advisor at the Council. It will indicate reasons for rejection and suggestions of what can be done to achieve a proposal's approval. This document on the right is the Eagle Scout Service Project Workbook, and it is available online at the Council website. And there is a link at the end of this presentation that says where it's at. It's in the advancement section under Eagle Scout, and you can download it there. The Scout uses this to document their project. It is the only real form other than the application itself that's required. for this process. So this needs to be downloaded. It has four major sections. The first section is the instructions. I suggest that the scout read the instructions ahead of time, the parent read the instructions ahead of time, and the unit leader read the instructions ahead of time. The scout is responsible for the project and doing the project. It's like any other requirement that they've been doing. They can't come in at the very end, they're 18 years of age, and say that nobody told them to do the project. It is not a responsibility of anybody to tell them to do the project. It is their responsibility to get the project done and to give themselves enough time to get the project done. So while working towards the completion of the project, uh, the scout needs to use this workbook. Guidance that maximizes the opportunity for completion of a worthwhile project will be readily available and strongly recommended. We will definitely give guidance through the district. The scout can reach out to the district, the unit can reach out to the district for more assistance. Ultimately, however, the responsibility of success, as I mentioned before, belongs to the scout, and the final evaluation is left for the board of review. If a candidate believes that they have been mistreated or their proposal is wrongly rejected, they will be provided a method of redress. This can include a second opinion and approval either through another volunteer or a professional advancement administrator or council executive as determined by the council advancement committee or executive board. Okay, let's take a deep dive into requirement 5. While a Life Scout plan, develop, and give leadership to others in a service project helpful to any religious institution, any school, or your community. The project must benefit an organization other than the Boy Scouts of America. A project proposal must be approved by the organization benefiting from the effort, the unit leader, the unit committee, and the council or district before the scout can begin work. A scout must use the Eagle Scout Service Project Workbook in meeting this requirement. Now let's look at what each part of the requirement means. While a Life Scout means work on the project, including the planning, begins only after the Life Scout Board review. However, this does not prevent an enthusiastic Star Scout from talking to their unit leader, religious leader, or principal about what makes a good project. Next, we have the words plan and develop. Planning and development require forethought, effort, and time, sometimes more time than what it would take to actually execute the project itself. Thus, for the most part, they are considered as part of the project and detailed further once the proposal is approved. It is very important to differentiate between a project proposal and a project plan. It is inappropriate to expect the scout to invest the time required for detailed planning of their proposal only to face the possibility of their proposal being rejected. That is why the only thing required for the proposal phase is the proposal section of the workbook. There is a plan section, a project plan section that follows. That is a workbook that the scout may use. It is optional. They do not have to use it to document a project plan after the project has been approved. Nobody reviews the project plan section, and it does not have to be filled in. So as an example, a scout who wants to build a foot-long bridge does not need to have a set of detailed engineering plans and materials at the time of their proposal. They may want to have an estimated cost and other information proving the feasibility of the project, but does not need to be a fully formed plan at this stage. The next phrase is give leadership to others. Others means at least two others beside the scout. We often get a question, how many people must be on a project? And it really depends on the project. Whatever it takes to get the job done. However, they do have to show leadership, and the minimum set is two other people. Helpers may be involved in scouting or not, and of any age appropriate for the work. In cases where just three people are not able to conduct the project to the satisfaction of the project beneficiary, more would be advisable. It may be, however, that a well-chosen project conducted by three people provides an impact not achievable with those involving more people. One of the purposes of the project is to demonstrate leadership, but perhaps this could be considered a more important element for a scout who has not yet established himself or herself as a leader. It is for reasons like these that every project must be evaluated case by case on its positive impact to the benefiting organization and on lessons that will advance the candidate's growth. Councils, districts, and units shall not establish requirements for the number of people led or their makeup or for the time worked on the project, nor shall they expect scouts from different backgrounds with different experiences and different needs all to work towards a particular standard. The Eagle Scout Service Project is an individual experience. The Eagle is earned by individual scouts, and each one is different. Everyone earns their own Eagle. Okay, so we'll get to the next phrase of our requirement. We're still in requirement number 5 here. Helpful to any religious institution, any school, or your community. Any religious institution or any school is reasonably self-explanatory. But what does your community mean? If a scout wants to take his oath to help other people to another level and put his project to work for the community of the world, he is allowed to do so. A council may emphasize more local efforts, but should not deny worthy projects of a wider scope. In Grand Canyon Council, we have used projects, accepted projects or that benefit people in South America and in the Middle East and in other places. So for our council and for the nation, the definition of community is worldwide. You do need to find a beneficiary who could sign off on the project, no matter where that person is, where that project is. Normally, your community would not refer to individuals. In other words, you're not doing a project for an individual. Although a council or district advancement committee may consider scenarios where an individual in need can affect a community. And I'll give you an example. For example, the situation of an elderly person living at home but unable to maintain their property, with the result of being an attractive nuisance or related dangerous situations, or even an eyesore, is something that raises concern for more than just an individual.
If it can be determined that the community benefits, then it is a matter of identifying who will provide beneficiary approvals. So in that case, you got an eyesore in the neighborhood, um, to get cleaned up, it will benefit the community. So at that point, you just need to figure out, well, who's the benefit? It might be the homeowners association. It might be someone else that can sign off as the beneficiary for that. Those approvals must come from a source representing the community, such as a neighborhood association, a watch group, homeowners association, or perhaps a division of a town or county. So even though you're doing it for an individual, there's still a beneficiary organization involved with it. The project beneficiary, which is the person you are doing the project for, the organization you're doing the project for, need not be a registered nonprofit organization. Projects may be of a commercial nature, projects may not be of a commercial nature or for business, but this is not meant to disallow community institutions that would otherwise be acceptable to the council or district advancement committee. For example, those could be museums or various service agencies or some homes for the elderly. Some aspect of the business's operation provided as a community service may also be considered. Now, I'll give you an example. A park open to the public that happens to be owned by a business could be considered. In cases such as these, the test is whether the project primarily benefits the community as opposed to the profits of the business. Now, the next statement is benefit an organization other than the Boy Scouts of America. So the projects cannot be performed for the Boy Scouts of America, council, district units, camps, and so forth. It can't be for Grand Canyon, it can't be for Geronimo, it can't be for Herd Scout Pueblo, although both of those places need some work. The project cannot benefit the Boy Scouts of America. However, the unit's chartered organization can benefit and is certainly a good candidate, as are other organizations such as the Girl Scouts.
The requirement continues with a project proposal must be approved before you start. The proposal is an overview, but it is also the beginnings of planning. It shows a unit leader or any representative of a unit, committee, or district, or council that the following 5 tests can be met and be applied to each project individually. 1. The project provides sufficient opportunity to meet the requirement. 2. The project appears to be feasible. 3. Safety issues will be addressed. We want to see assurance that safety issues will be fully considered during planning, but they do not need to be fully addressed at the proposal stage of the project. 4. Action steps for further detailed planning are included. These are the steps necessary for the planning phase of the project, not for actually completing the project. And 5, the candidate has a reasonable chance for a positive experience.
Okay, there is one and only one Eagle Scout project workbook. It cannot be modified, and if properly used, it is very nearly always assures success. And that's the workbook we pointed out. It should not be used as a source for rejecting candidates based on technicalities. Remember, the write-ups and signatures are simply supportive to the project activity. It is the actual activity we are interested in. If properly used, the Eagle Scout Project Workbook keeps the Scout on the right track with a reasonable chance for success and a positive experience. The official Eagle Scout Project Workbook as provided by the Boy Scouts of America must be used, and it is available from grandcanyonbsa.org in the advancements section. Many units use Eagle Scout Service Project coaches or advisors. The coach is the subject matter expert on the process and standards of the service project. The coach is not a new or separate position in scouting. Coaches come from other positions in scouting, such as the unit, district, or council committee. It is up to the council to determine who can serve as project coaches and how they may be assigned. In our council, it is left up to the district to assign official coaches if possible, and units may assign their own Eagle advisors. We use the terms separately. Advisor is something that a person informally within the unit advises their scouts on the Eagle project. They tend to be the ones that really know the scout the best, and they can get the scouts motivated and encourage them, on a weekly basis or monthly basis to continue working and getting their projects completed. And we recommend those each unit have an Eagle advisor. Coaches must be registered with the BSA in any position and must be current in youth protection training. A project coach is not required but highly recommended. It is the Scouts' decision whether to use a coach or not. Their greatest value is in the advice they provide after the project proposal has been approved. The coach's benefit to the Scout is their knowledge and experience with project approvals. Coaches work in an advisory capacity. They use the method of positive adult association to help the Scout. Coaches can help a Scout see if a plan is not sufficiently developed, a project could fail. Coaches meet with the Scout to review his plan, discuss his strengths, weaknesses, risks, and suggest critical improvements if necessary. Coaches do not have the authority to dictate changes to a plan, withdraw approval, or take any other directive action. The final decisions regarding the project are those of the Scout and beneficiary only.
Let's talk a little bit about fundraising. Eagle Scout service projects themselves may not be fundraisers. Fundraising is permitted only for securing materials and otherwise facilitating completion of the project. If anyone donates over $500 in cash and is not affiliated with the unit or the beneficiary or the Scout, then that donation needs to be reported to the council. And that's done through a fundraising application, which is inside of the Eagle Scout Service Project Workbook. For donations that are contributing to the project by the beneficiary, Scout, a relative of the Scout, or somebody in the unit, those don't have to be reported at all. If you do get cash donations of less than $500, you still need to fill out that fundraising workbook, fundraising approval application, and it is approved by the district project approver. Procedures and limitations for Eagle Scout Service Project fundraising can be found on the back of the fundraising application, which is inside the Service Project Workbook.
Let's talk a little bit about risk management. All Eagle Scout service projects constitute official scouting activity and are part of a unit's program. As such, Eagle Scout service projects are subject to the Boy Scouts of America policies and procedures, including youth protection, 2-deep leadership, insurance, etc. You have the same insurance coverage for Eagle Scout projects as you do for any unit activity. The health and safety of those working on Eagle projects must be incorporated into project execution. Unit adult leaders have the same responsibility to ensure safety in conducting a project as with any other unit activity. While a candidate should be guided to plan for safe execution, it must be understood that minors cannot and must not be held responsible for safety concerns. The Suite 16 of BSA Safety and the Guide to Safe Scouting should be consulted during project planning and execution. They can be found at the national website at scouting.org. Let's talk about evaluating the project after completion. Completed projects must be evaluated on impact, the extent of benefit to the benefiting organization, and on the leadership provided by the candidate. There must be evidence that the candidate planned and developed the project as necessary to execute the project. Reviewers may not require more planning and development than was necessary to complete the project. Note the middle section of the workbook is the planning document. There is no requirement that that section be filled in at all, and no one signs off on that section. The requirement is that the candidate has planned and developed the project as necessary to execute the project. Reviewers may not require more planning and development than was necessary to complete the project. There may be cases where the unit leader or beneficiary choose not to approve the project. One or the other may have decided that the project modifications were so significant that the extent of service or the impact of the project were insignificant to warrant approval. In these cases, a candidate may be asked to do more work or even start over with another project. It is the candidate's choice to do more work, or to start over, or to proceed to request a board of review. Submitting his project workbook without final approval is up to the scout. It will be up to the board to determine if the first two conditions above have been met. Sometimes a project is not completed or not completed as planned. Again, it is up to the board to determine if sufficient activity took place to meet the first two conditions.
For more information, go to the Grand Canyon Council Eagle Scout Process webpage, which is shown on this slide at the top. More information on project approval can be found in a document on that page called Notes for Eagles Project Approvers, Unit Leaders, and Boards of Review. Those who are advising scouts and those who are approving projects should read this document because there's more information on what is expected for project approval. More information can be found in the Guide to Advancement, Chapter 9, and of course the Eagle Scout rank application and the Service Project Workbook. The rank application and the Service Project Workbook are also on the Council Eagle Scout Process page, as well as a Read Me First document. That Read Me First document should be read by the scout, the parent, and any advisors